Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing permissive parenting. So what's a permissive parent? I'm glad you asked. Permissive parents are generally very loving, very nurturing, very warm and soft-spoken parents. They have very few rules, not a lot of structure, and unfortunately, that means that they do not bring a lot of discipline to their child's life. They tend to be overly responsive to their children, giving very few demands, giving very few guidelines, and ultimately they're just really relaxed and kind of just let their children do whatever it is that they want to do. The idea is that they just want their child to be happy. That's all they care about. They want their child to be happy, and I mean, really, what parent doesn't want their child to be happy? The pitfall with that idea is those children who are permissively parented never get to learn how to cope with an array of different emotions. We're all human beings, and we all feel everything. Most of the time when things happen, we get sad, we get angry, we are disappointed, we're frustrated, we're confused. We feel all of these things, and that's a natural response to life. Feeling these things is not bad, it's human. So when permissive parents see their children being anything but happy, their main goal is to get them to be happy. Instead, they really should be aiming to teach your children how to cope with being angry, how to cope with being sad, how to cope with being frustrated, how to get understanding in the midst of confusion, and to think clearly. There are going to be times when you have to tell your children no, because when they go out into the real world and they have teachers, or they come across a cashier, or they have their own boss, whatever it is, whomever it is, they're going to experience being told no. They're going to experience being unhappy. Do you know what happens when a person has always been happy for 18 years of life, never having experienced any negative emotions, and now for the first time ever, they're having to deal with that? Now, everybody knows I'm all for autonomy. I'm all for children being able to express their wants and needs, and I welcome all those expressions. All parents should welcome their children's expressions of their feelings, but we as parents have to guide them in their emotions, to teach them responsibility, to teach them accountability, and to teach them how to be challenged and pushed through hard situations. Studies have actually shown that children of permissive parents will have long-standing emotional and mental problems and issues because they just cannot learn to cope. There was actually a study done on college students who had academic entitlement because they felt like their professors were being unfair, unreasonable, too hard on them because they just didn't want to do it, and they're so used to their parents saying, well, you don't have to do it, or I'll help you do it, and making their life easier for them, so they don't know how to handle when life is a little bit tough. These parents generally just don't expect maturity out of their children because they want their children to be happy. That's my baby. You know, he doesn't understand what's happening, but that's why they have you, mom and dad. They have you to acknowledge, hey, I see that you're frustrated with this. I see that doing this makes you upset, however, we have to put on our big girl and big boy pants, and we have to get through this and do this anyway. It's very important that we allow our children to experience age-appropriate stressors. So let's talk about that for a minute. My baby is currently only 9 months. She'll be 10 months in a few weeks. So her stressors are very simplistic. Things like, no, you cannot pull mommy's hair. No, you cannot put my phone into your mouth because it's been on my face, on the couch, on the table, you know, things like that. But honey, when I tell you, when she can't have access to what she wants, her world falls completely apart. And I get it. You see this nice, shiny, bright thing that you want, and you just know that you want it. You have this great desire for it. You want to figure it out. But if I say you can't have it, you just can't have it. So while she's a baby, I'm teaching her language. I put words to her emotions so that when she does begin talking, she can begin to use this language. So I say things to her like, Casey, I see that you're mad. I see that you're sad. but you cannot have mommy's phone. And when she comes down, I offer her something else that is age appropriate for her to play with. The key is to not give your children things when they're crying and in an uproar to do anything to make them happy. They need to learn how to breathe, to calm down with them, just their body, and then be offered something else afterwards. Because one day that kid's gonna be 16. Okay, mom, I can't get the Bentley, but can I get the Range Rover? And it's just gonna gradually be taught to them that if they can't have this one thing, then they can have something else because I'm upset. You don't ever want to pair, I'm getting something because I was upset. You want to pair that when I calm down, I can have something. That when I'm at peace and I'm not as irate and displaying an undesirable behavior, that is why I get what I want. We want to teach our children that they get things that they want when one, it's just accessible, or two, they've worked hard to get it, or three, that just sometimes the way that you ask, you're able to get certain things, not in a fit of rage, because then you're teaching them that rage is what gets them what they want. This is how sometimes outside of diagnosed behavior disorders and other things like that, where we see an influx of people who are abusive to their partners because they've learned rage gets me what I want. Throwing a fit gets me what I want, instead of clear communication and a compromise between two people. So if you believe that you identify with this type of parent, understand that we know that you love your child. Your child knows that you love them, and it's okay to love them. It's okay to respond to their emotions, but also know that you have to stick to your guns. You have to set boundaries for them, because they have to learn how to respect other people's boundaries, because their life is not just you and them. It's you and them and the rest of the world that they will interact with. And if they're used to you parenting this way, it will be hard to start again, because you're going to give them structure to a world where they didn't have structure. You're giving them boundaries to a world where they didn't have boundaries. One of my friends, she tells me all the time how her child is overly touchy, and she is somebody that does not really like to be touched. And so some people might think, oh, she's terrible for not letting her child touch her. But your son is going to be dating one day. Your daughter is going to be dating one day, and she has to learn early, and it starts with you, mom and dad, that she has to learn to respect other people's boundaries. So she creates a period of time where they can cuddle. They have a time in the morning where they just lay around and they cuddle, and then, okay, mommy has her space time. We can still be in the same room, but we don't have to be touching. And then we'll have nighttime cuddles and things like that, because, hey, other people have problems too. Other people just are who they are. And that's okay. And we have to learn to teach our children to respect themselves and respect everybody that they come into contact with, because it's not just their way and their viewpoint. They have to learn to respect other people and their viewpoints too. So begin laying that structure, set those rules into motion, and don't go back on them unless it's truly something that needs to be reevaluated. Don't be afraid of consequences. Your child is not going to like consequences. If they drew on the wall and they're 6 years old and they know better than drawing on the wall, guess what? Who gets to clean it? You do. Guess who's probably going to be mad about it? They are. But guess what? That's the price that they pay when they do something that they know that they're not supposed to do. And it's your job as mom and dad to teach them to be responsible and accountable. So guess who's going to clean up the wall? You are. And guess who's not getting any more crayons, markers, or pencils for a while? You are, until you have shown me that you are worthy of trust in this regard. And they will be upset. They will cry maybe, but you have to remember those emotions are a healthy response to being denied something that they want. And you can acknowledge it. I know that you're upset, but this is how it has to be. Let them go in their room or whatever room it is and have their feelings. And as always, don't forget to reward your children and praise them when they are showing a change in their behavior. When you notice that permissive parenting was the way that you guys were living, and you're starting to restructure, and you're delivering by staying strong on your word, and whatever consequence they get for their actions is what they get, and you're holding true to it. You notice those meltdowns and those temper tantrums are decreasing. You can say things like, hey, I really like how you accepted that. I really like how you controlled yourself even though you were upset. And when they are doing something good, praise them. And as they get older and they're used to doing something, you can pull back that praise a little bit, because they have to learn that some things is just what they're supposed to do. We have to remember that although affection is one way to show somebody that we love them, so is correcting them. The same way we wouldn't let our child go around thinking 1 + 1 = 5. We wouldn't just let them walk into the street because we don't want them to get hurt. We cannot let them just behave and think certain ways about themselves and other people, because that's harmful mentally and emotionally as well. So if you have any questions about permissive parenting and ways to restructure your home and your routine to better help your child get a better understanding of the new ways, you can leave questions in the comments, or you can always email me as well. See you guys next time.